who really won the Battle of Haldighati, because according to the history textbooks, Akbar won, but there was neither any surrender nor any capture. So, how did Akbar win this battle? You would like to know my perspective on this. So, the Battle of Haldighati was, as we know, between the kingdom of Maharana Pratap in Rajasthan, as we know, and between the expansionist Mughal, so-called Mughal Empire of Emperor Akbar. So Akbar was a Turk. He was a Turkic invader, and he was the king of the Mughal Empire. He was trying to expand his influence in territory, and he wanted Maharana Pratap to become his vassal. And Maharana and several other Rajput chieftains who were all fragmented and divided had accepted Akbar's suzerainty. And Maharana Pratap, who was the most prominent of the Rajput kings of the time, he refused to accept Akbar's suzerainty over him. And that is what caused this conflict. So Akbar could not tolerate a Rajput king defying him, and therefore he sent an expedition to defeat Maharana Pratap and to annex the territory of Maharana Pratap. And that is what brings us to the Battle of Haldighati. So this was fought between the army of Maharana Pratap and the invading force, invading army of the Turks. I mean, Akbar was not present in this battle himself. He had sent some of his vassals. I think the head of the Mughal army was himself a Rajput. He was himself a Rajput, and he was related in some way to Maharana Pratap. But they found themselves on opposite sides of the conflict. So that is eventually what had happened in India after many centuries of repeated Turkic invasions. So India became slowly fragmented in this manner. So it was basically Rajput against Rajput in a sense. So this battle was fought in this narrow pass called Haldighati. It is called Haldighati because the soil is bright yellow. It looks like turmeric. So this is where the battle was fought. The Rajputs under Maharana Pratap were outnumbered at least 4-1. So for every soldier they had, the Turks or the invaders had at least 4 soldiers more. So that's how it was. Now, there is a great deal of confusion about the outcome of this battle. What is clear is that there was no concrete outcome in this battle. That is what one gets to hear from if we examine multiple sources. Now, to understand what really happened and how to interpret the conclusion of the battle, we have to understand what were the military objectives of the two forces. The military objective and the overall objective of Akbar's force was to either defeat Maharana Pratap and kill him and annex the territory, or to defeat Maharana Pratap and force him to accept Akbar as his sovereign king. That was the overall objective of Akbar's invading force. And the objective of Maharana Pratap's force and Maharana Pratap himself was to resist the invasion of Akbar. And it was to continue to be independent and to continue to defy the Turkic invader of India. So at the end of the battle, we know that the force of Maharana Pratap did not surrender. That is 100% a fact. They did not surrender, and they were not destroyed. His army was not destroyed, and the Mughals were not able to force Maharana Pratap to accept Akbar as his sovereign king, and they were not able to kill him either. And for 21 more years, Maharana Pratap kept on defying the Mughals, and therefore it is perfectly clear that the Mughals did not achieve any of their objectives that they wanted to achieve from as a result of this battle. So if we look at it from that perspective, it is clear that Maharana Pratap's force came out on top. He was able to prevent the Mughals from achieving what they wanted to achieve. That much is extremely clear. It is crystal clear. The Mughals did not succeed in achieving either their military objective or their political objectives. And from that perspective, it is very clear that Maharana Pratap came out on top. Now, the actual military engagement was just a battle. What really matters, what is really consequential, is the entire military campaign, because a military campaign is an extension of politics. It has political objectives, and the political objectives is really the lens through which we need to see every battle and every military campaign. So the political objective of Akbar was clear. It was to either kill and destroy Maharana Pratap and his army, or to force them to accept him as their emperor, and he failed on both counts. And therefore, from this from this overall large perspective, it is clear that Maharana Pratap succeeded and Akbar failed. So that is how I see it. Historians tend to look at battles in isolation. What happened in this battle, in this 4 to 6 hours engagement? Who won this? It doesn't matter. A military campaign has lots and lots and lots of battles and skirmishes, right? And it is the overall end outcome that really matters. So the outcome was very clear that Maharana Pratap continued to remain independent. He continued to defy Akbar the Mughal, and the Mughals did not achieve their objectives. So that is very clear, and I don't see this as revisionism. It is simply looking at the events from a larger lens, not from a tactical lens, but from a strategic and grand strategy lens, and from from the perspective of military and political strategy. So it's clear that Maharana Pratap succeeded and Akbar failed.